when you say Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, people are like, oh my goodness, they don't like each other, so let's see what this is about.
Yeah.
So when you say Sheryl Swoopes, Caitlin Clark, it's like, oh my goodness, Sheryl doesn't like her, so let's see what this is about.
Oh, right now. Caitlin Clark is respected by Sheryl Swoopes. Hold on. This is Sheryl swooping again. Who's been disparaging Caitlin? From day one discussing how she wouldn't rule the WNBA the way she's overhyped the fact that she couldn't manage the experts. You are familiar with Sheryl, who seems to despise Caitlin Clark. On her resume, she lists club president.
Caitlin has done for not just college basketball, but for women's basketball, period.
However, you might be surprised to learn that the hater bus's petrol ran out because Caitlin just made a really strong move that unquestionably Sheryl swoops in as well. Sheryl Swoopes had to acknowledge that she was impressed, and let's face it, you're aware. You could see that it killed her to say it. She was having trouble gritting her teeth in an attempt to keep it from slipping, but why did she have to offer Caitlin flowers? Since Caitlin Clark recently closed the NBA, she declined a fantastic chance to participate at the All-Star three-point contest in the NBA is not. She did it for one, but twice. Justification for prioritizing women's basketball. She rejected the largest stage in men's basketball to ensure that the WNBA receives the recognition it merits, and let's simply say that Sheryl had no option to honor the move. But do not misunderstand. This was not Sheryl falling in love and jumping on the Kate train. She came to the realization that Caitlin Clark is more than simply a player. She's a movement, and the old guard is now can choose to board or leave behind. So let's dissect everything, because this is changing right now. All of it. But before diving into please take a moment to like this fantastic item. Watch this video and follow the channel. By being a member of our team, you'll always be keeping up with the most recent WNBA news, expert analysis, and interpretations of major moves. Enjoy this. Don't pass up what we have. Every angle is covered, so strike that. Click subscribe, and let's get started.
Here's once again another example of Sheryl Swoopes hating Caitlin Clark so much that she literally can't even say.
Let's now discuss what actually occurred, because this wasn't your typical choice. Was a moment that rocked the whole basketball community for the Caitlin Clark for the second consecutive year declined the opportunity to participate in the NBA three-point contest All-Star Games. Although it's true that many folks were disappointed, particularly the NBA executives. The NBA was, after all, counting on Clark's using celebrity endorsements to increase their ratings. They requested that she bring that electric device energy, that the presence of stars is evident, and the millions of eyes, let's face it, which track her wherever she goes. Yet, at first, Caitlin had different plans. You would anticipate that the haters will emerge from the woodwork following a choice such as this, calling her egotistical and fearful, because, let's be honest, every choice she is scrutinized if she so chooses. Blinks in the wrong direction, critics are. I was about to leap on her, but not now. Her choice to suddenly reject the NBA resonated with her critics, and in a twist that no one had anticipated for a long time. In fact, critic Sheryl Swoopes arrived at her defense, so let's discuss it briefly, because Sheryl swoops in, protecting Caitlin Clark, as if suddenly Tom and Jerry were the best of friends. Friends in the world of basketball paused as a group and looked up at the sky. Did flying pigs actually do this? Did Sheryl simply jump off the hater bus and go on the train to Caitlin? Sheryl, the same person who had been outspoken about Clark's excessive hype, and let's face it, I'm not prepared for the WNBA. This went beyond simply turning down an NBA player invitation. This was a pivotal point. Caitlin didn't merely say something regarding her professional life. She made a assertion regarding the prospects for women's. In terms of basketball overall, she succeeded. Clearly, the WNBA is not a stepping stone. Stone isn't a last-minute idea. It's a stronghold deserving of its own dignity, their own moment in the spotlight. and the sun. And she is spearheading that initiative, one audacious move at a time. So why actually? Caitlin declines the NBA's offer. It was crystal clear, according to representatives. Her first competition using three-pointers will attend a game of WNBA All-Star in. She's not just missing out Indianapolis. She's making a power move in the NBA. She is consciously deciding to give priority to the ladies' competition, and in doing so, she's delivering a strong and unambiguous message to the whole women's basketball world. Basketball merits its own stage, its own spotlight and degree of respect, and Flex is not playing around. China Mike, a WNBA standout, said a lot. Many claim that Caitlin Clark is a mover. She is the needle that is incorrect. Caitlin Clark's needle isn't merely no longer playing the game, she is altering the text, dictating its terms. Storytelling is influencing how the world perceives the WNBA and making individuals observe that she is aware of her power. Impact each action she does is. Every choice is chosen after careful consideration. Considering the wider perspective, she's just playing basketball when everyone else is playing checkers. She is aware of this by creating strategic decisions, and she's currently paving the path for upcoming female generations. That's next-level leadership from athletes. Furthermore, let's face it, this choice wasn't only one competition, it was an intentional attempt to keep raising the women's basketball profile whenever she declines a chance that turns attention to men's sports, she's increasing the WNBA's visibility in the mainstream discussion of sports. She is demonstrating that basketball for women is the primary focus, not an afterthought event, but it involves more than just exposure. Caitlin has a long-term perspective. She is aware that revenue is correlated with visibility, because the more revenue, the more growth. The more attention the WNBA receives, the more networks, the more sponsors come in, bid for the rights to broadcast, and the female athletes receive better compensation. This goes beyond her career. It's on the overall future of the sport. Moreover, if there is one thing we are aware of, Caitlin CL Clark is known for being proactive. This isn't merely a revolution, a movement, and she's taking the lead. But let's take a back seat. Briefly, what sort of publicity did Caitlin simply ignored what she had done? Give up by politely declining the NBA offer. It's more than a single competition. She departed from a large promotional chance that might have put her with millions of basketball enthusiasts watching all throughout the world. The NBA All-Star Weekend is among the most popular basketball games, annual events, and Caitlin would have been the world's first female take part in the three-point competition. History-making stuff like that, but she continued to say no, explaining that her vision is greater than a single instance of. Her thoughts are focused on individual glory, the WNBA's future, and the youth. Girls who admire her.
Keep going to the women. Hey, we're just here for the GOAT. Can't wait to see you live. We are so...
The All-Star Game of the WNBA has yet specifically been a ratings powerhouse in the past, but this is where things get fascinating. Throughout Clark's first season, viewers of the WNBA regular season almost tripled during her performance in the Onaka. Sales of tickets for the Prom Golf event increased by 12 times what she is aware that touches can turn into gold. However, ratings aren't everything. The WNBA's Caitlin's presence is changing the perception of women's basketball. Promoted and played games with Caitlin Clark is selling out faster than ever before. Spending time with fans that are traveling throughout the nation simply to have a look at her in operation. Arenas as a whole are changing their seating arrangements just to allow demand. Take a moment to process that. Because Caitlin Clark is so well-liked, teams are really transferring games to larger stadiums to accommodate everyone. That's what constitutes a game. Claps. Altering her choice to decline the NBA was more than simply a single event. Season, the long term was the focus. rejecting the NBA's offer in favor of the WNBA. She's making a strong statement about women's basketball is more than simply a spectacle, the centerpiece, and we must not overlook her effect on Caitlyn's good sales. Jersey is now among the greatest, flying off, selling in WNBA history, shelves more quickly than the league can. Restocking them had a greater impact. Income, more sponsorship agreements, and an unquestionable buzz surrounding casual sports. WNBA fans are watching games more than ever before. Prior to the figures, there's something more profound is taking place here. The cultural significance of women's basketball being regarded as genuine at last. Amusement that is not merely a supplementary choice for male athletics, and that's Caitlin Clark is causing her to shift the discussion in which she's promoting women's basketball to an entirely new level, and the majority of. Crucially, she is demonstrating that the WNBA is not going anywhere and it will only get larger. Let's go on to the Sheryl, the part that truly grabbed attention. Actually, Swoopes is standing up for Caitlin Clark. Yes, Sheryl, you read correctly. Swoopes, who had publicly criticized when Caitlin joined the WNBA, the same legend who asked if Clark may actually rule the league. She felt herself tipping her cap out of the blue to the youthful phenom.
Well, Caitlin, of course, we go way back, Midwestern. We had a lot of battles in AAU and stuff like that. We played together on Team USA. I think she's just a competitor. She wants to
Catches a 3-time WNBA player, 4-time champion and MVP had previously doubted Clark's the capacity to deal with the physicality and swiftness of her professional level, expressed worries on whether Clark's game that was popular in college would translate as successfully against experienced professionals, but with Caitlin establishing a statement by giving priority to the WNBA over an invitation to the NBA All-Star. Instead, things took a surprising turn of firing at Clark. Swoopes once more performed an action that left jaws on the floor. She displayed sincere respect. Unquestionably, I believe that respect is as distinct as it seems. She is acting honorably for a woman leader. She's prioritizing the women. What did we just hear about honoring that weight? Did Sheryl Swoopes just give that? Did Caitlin Clark just give her a compliment? Recognize that Clark is larger than simply a single celebrity, that she's actively influencing how women's. This wasn't just about basketball. Complimenting Clark on her abilities on the court, it was important to acknowledge that Caitlin was acting outside of basketball moves that have the potential to the WNBA's operations and image. It was an uncommon moment for years to come, where a fan became a critic, when a legend from the old school acknowledged that there were some significant "let's be together and toss some weight" about. Sincerely, that type of public change in viewpoint that says 1,000 words who you've. At this point, you must be like the video a lot, but why not pause for a moment to strike that? Click the follow button. It's completely free, easy, and enables us to continue providing you with more fantastic material, particularly if you adore the WNBA, regardless of the game, highlights, player spotlights, or behind. We have you in these scenes, protected, and by adhering, you'll never not a beat in terms of your favorite teams and athletes are available for tap. That come next. Okay, let's jump. Return to the WNBA's implications of this. To be honest, Caitlin Clark is evolving the game in a manner that hasn't been seen before. She used to play more than simply basketball. She is changing the role of the WNBA in the sports world, where she is in charge of how the WNBA's popularity is growing. The Indiana Fever set was unlike anything else, an attendance record for a single season with more than 300,000 fans came to Gainbridge. One was Fieldhouse Clark's responsibility. In 6 WNBA tickets sold last season, where star power isn't the only thing. Impact at the supernova level, but it's more. rather than merely crowded arenas and TV. Every game's ratings have skyrocketed. Watching Clark playing is a must, attracting millions of spectators who could not previously watched a WNBA game. Engagement in social media has skyrocketed, including snippets of her astounding, flashy assists and three-pointers are ongoing. Viral in a matter of seconds, individuals aren't simply observing as they discuss the WNBA in ways that were not possible before. To the WNBA was acknowledged as the fastest-growing sports company of 2024 is more than just a sporting event. Accomplishment. This is a cultural change, is more than a passing blip on the radar. It's momentum that might alter things forever. Clark's and the league's course is in the middle of everything, turning from skeptics to believers, casual admirers to young females and diehards into the next. The current generation of hoopers who aspire to participating in the WNBA, and let's face it, just her existence is pressuring networks and marketers to invest more funds in. The WNBA's prime time slots are suddenly being allotted. Endorsement agreements are in progress and at a record speed, and discussions concerning equitable pay are making more traction. Caitlin is not merely having fun. She is rewriting the future of basketball. One game at a time in the sport, she's demonstrating that basketball for women isn't. It is definitely worth seeing. Entertainment and the world is at last focusing